Good evening and welcome to Beat the Clock Inside the Gallop with clocker Bruno De Julio. I'm Scotty McKeever, your host tonight, bringing you exclusive insights straight from the track. We are your eyes on the ground, focusing on first-time starters and top favorites and sleepers you might want to know about. So join us to uncover these hidden gems. My partner, of course, renowned clocker Bruno De Julio. What is up, Bruno? You ready to go?
I'm ready to rock and roll, guys. I think there's some interesting things that we're going to talk about, and we got some interesting views on how to look them up. I think that horse players make a lot of mistakes when they look at maiden races and they look at a workout report, and they just refer to the rating, and that's the last thing that I would refer to. And we're going to go over that in tomorrow's second race, even though the horse we're going to mention is re-entered for Saturday. But the horse's name is Modern Warrior for Wesley Ward. It's a very well-bred Uncle Mo, a gelding. And I believe he's a 4-year-old. And people say, well, God, he must have had some problems, getting to the races, and he's running them for a tag, But when you watch the video, you actually have a different opinion of what and who that horse is. Sometimes people look at pedigree, and in their mind, they believe that horse is ready-made. Oh, he looks great, just because of the pedigree. Well, that's not true. They come in all shapes and sizes. Let's go ahead and cue the one of the works for. All
right, we got it right here. I can actually pull this up, Chris. Let's look at this work right here.
Okay, he's working with another ordinary horse named Waylaid, and he's outside of Waylaid. But what I want handicappers to worry about and think about is not the time, is not the rating, but watch how that horse moves.
So what are we looking for? I remember last week you told us.
I mean, right, Scotty, you look at him right now. Look at his action.
Yeah.
He's an egg beater. He could scramble some eggs, pretty nice eggs, wouldn't he? And also, try to stop it at a certain point. If you can see if you can just stop the video.
Let's see if we can do that.
Look at what I'm trying to point out. If you can go back. And I want you to see how high that action is. Now, there's a myth that that's a turf action. No, a high knee action is not turf. A turf action barely picks her feet up off the ground. That is just bad conformation, number one. If you can roll it back again and show it to him again. Because sometimes people have a hard time. Look at the action. Look how much wasted time that he has picking up those feet and putting them down. That's wasted action. Well, you look at the workmate, Waylaid, he barely picks his feet up off the ground. I would call that turf action.
Right.
But here with Modern Day Warrior, the way he's built through the knees and the way he's built physically, he picks those feet way up off the ground. That is time. Time and is an essence when you're working. Horses that move like this don't waste any time striding out. But when you're picking up your feet all the way up, you're wasting a lot of time to stretch out because you're picking up and stretching out. You're not doing it simultaneously. So and when you breed a horse, you bred horses before, Scott. You don't know what you're going to get.
No.
You could get a horse that's got his leg on backwards.
So this horse is running. You believe this horse is going to get scratched here and run on Saturday, correct?
Rules are if you're in a card and you re-enter in another race, you'll be running on Saturday. Now, what's interesting is Wesley moves them from 20 to 40. Now, Wesley bred this horse. I think that Wesley is pretty much saying, you know what? I think somebody will give me 40 for him. Why not take that advantage? He's well-bred. He's got everything going his way. He's a gelding. people are going to look at him. He's a big, good-looking horse. He's not counting on people seeing the video with those legs coming up to his chin. So he's putting him in the right spot. He's putting him in a spot that he can claim. I think the win game here is for Wesley to lose the horse.
I think that what he's doing is putting the horse in for 20 and then 40, and then people are just going to assume, well, he didn't want to lose the horse for 20, so he puts the horse in for 40. Yeah. And I think that's it. I think that's what's going on.
Yeah. And that's the bottom line. I mean, Wesley is a tremendous, how do I find the right word? He places his horses really, really well.
He does. No doubt about it.
And especially when he owns them. So my point here was, yes, the horse can win. It's not about whether he can win or not, but why is the horse in this spot? And I think handicappers need to ask themselves that question all the time. Why is this horse in this spot? Why isn't this horse running for straight maidens? You watch the video. If you go back to another one, I think I have one out of the gate on Modern Day Warrior.
Well, there's one here on March 8th.
Right. Here he works in company. But my point is that if you don't pay attention to where the horse moves, then you don't quite understand who that horse is. Now, people say, well, how do I know the way a horse is supposed to move? You learn. Just like you learned how to open the form from the first and handicap from the first race to the last, you can look at a horse and tell something that's out of the norm. And here I picked this 3-horse set because on the Arrest Me Red is on the outside, and he's a good horse. And look at the way he moves. Look at the horse on the rail, Modern Warrior. Look at his action. Compare it to Arrest Me Red, who's much more efficient the way he moves. So, I mean, it looks like Modern Day Warrior is just jumping, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. All right, I'm over this horse. Whatever. It's going to be running on. It's going to be running on Saturday. Let's go over this. I had a lot of people asking questions this week, and they want to learn from you, Bruno. One of the things they want to know is, what is the scoop on getting the extra star? Like, when you're rating workouts, what makes one jump from a 3-star to a 4-star?
Boy, that's a tough question because it comes as a gut feeling. When you're watching a horse train and you're watching them move and you love the way they're doing, and you got to know a little bit of, that's why I say you got to know who the horse is. And you're watching the horse move and you're like, okay, I like what I'm seeing here. I love the body language. I love what the rider's doing. If I know the horse really well and this is his typical work, that's a 3-star. It doesn't get to put to 4-star because that's what that horse does. It's almost like if you you guys all have friends, real good friends. How many friends, Scott, do you know that you can almost predict what they're going to say or do?
A lot of them. Okay.
What about the guy that you don't know and he says something that basically impresses you because of who he is? Guys that are really quiet, they don't say a whole lot, and all of a sudden they come up with something. That's the 4-star. When a horse that you're not expecting does something that you really catches your eye, and it's not something of the norm from that horse, that's the difference. There's no 1, 2, 3 step, 4-star, 3-star. It's basically all my gut feeling on how that horse is training and heading into the race.
All right, another one of the questions, and this is one that I've always wondered, and that is, can we really bet on a turf horse based on the dirt workouts, or is it like throwing money into the wind? Like, what do we do in that situation?
Absolutely, because a turf horse would show good form over the track, over the fast track. I'll give you a great example, and I got really kind of upset at this. This was, I think, at the end of December at Fairgrounds. There was a horse named Tufani that's for Mike Stidham. He's a turf horse. He had a phenomenal work. I had him 47-2, out 59 and change. They give him 49. Hey, Chuck Brower, how you doing, brother? I loved him. I put him on top. I gave him a 4-star work. the talking head, and I'm not going to mention his name on Fairgrounds, says, well, you know, and this is where it got me mad. He said, Bruno gave this horse a 4-star work, but this is a dirt horse training on the turf, and it doesn't matter. First of all, if you're going to do that, don't bring me up. Just say it as your opinion. But he decided to bring it up. He made it personal. Well, guess what? The horse won. I did not give that horse any more 4 stars after that, and the horse hasn't won. So
let's get focused on this, though. How are we supposed to judge a workout on the dirt when the GSR is saying that the horse is a turf horse? What do we do in that situation?
What did I rate the horse?
What's that?
What did I rate the horse?
No, I'm just talking in general.
Well, see, certain turf horses, when they work them on the dirt and it's a little loose, they can show you they're turf horses because it's breaking out from underneath them. They're not doing that. But most turf horses will work well over the dirt. The big difference between turf and dirt horses is turf horses have a limited run. They have to sit, and then explode for an 1/8 of a mile. Where on the dirt, you have to have more power from behind, which turf horses, by the way, physically, they're a lot lighter in the rump area than usually dirt horses. Dirt horses have to be strong behind and have that push off to handle the dirt. Turf horses don't really do that. You want to go and take a look at the difference? Go to the Breeders' Cup and go watch all the English and French and horses coming in. And go look at them in the paddock. They're all slightly built. They're all narrow. They're smaller. They're not tanks. Not at all. I learned that in 1993 when the Breeders' Cup was at Santa Anita for the first time. I had been subscribing to all the time forms and the books and the tapes. They send you tapes every week of all the major races. And there was a couple of horses. There was a horse named Hernando that was winning all the major races. He was going in the Breeders' Cup Classic. When I went into the paddock and I looked at him, I went, wow, he's a Shetland pony. He's this wide. I mean, you're looking at it and you're saying, who is this horse? This is the horse I've been watching? But he had that ability and the quick turn of foot, and he had the power from behind to be able to go that 1/8 of a mile, 1/4 of a mile at top rate speed.
Okay, but okay. How do we know that? How does the handicapper get in the handicapper's head right now? How are we supposed to interpret a horse when we're dirt workouts and then the horse ends up on turf? How are we supposed to know what that horse is? Because
that's the way I looked at Modern Warrior. Start looking at horses. Start looking at horses that are turf horses and look at the way they move over the turf.
Okay, so we're looking for a horse opposite of what we just saw
here.
What's that?
Let me reset. Form on the dirt in the morning equates to good, the horse doing well and will run well. Sometimes I'll look at a horse and I go, he doesn't look like a turf horse, but then he is a turf horse, because he doesn't have the ability to be able to maintain that long rate of speed over a distance of ground. So it's hit or miss, Scott. It's sometimes when you look at horses and you just go, I'll look at him and go, that's a turf horse. Not because he's got a high knee action. I hate that. We'll take charge at a huge high knee action. He wasn't a turf horse. But when you're looking at turf horses working on dirt and they show you good form in their works, that usually means they're doing well. Horses work well in the morning when they're doing well. Horses don't work well in the morning when they're not doing well.
All right, let's move on to race number 4 tomorrow. And there's a horse, Herods BG, who's coming off of a layoff for Rob Atras. And this horse, this is your note. Your note says, big work, 23-2, 47, 59-3, finished well and out through the wire strong. Excellent body language. And you gave this horse a 4-star. Let's click on the video here and let's watch this. Tell us about this. It's it's not in company.
Well, what you're going to notice coming through the lane is the body weight on this horse. The flesh is awesome. He's moving effortlessly. He's a big boy. He's a big, heavy horse. That's why you haven't seen him in a while. Big, heavy types are really tough on themselves. I can only say like Shaquille O'Neal always had feet problems because he was so big and he was so heavy on those feet. But look at the body language on this horse. He's carrying his ears up. He's doing it very easy. Look, he's flipping his ears back and forth. He's waiting for the rider to tell him, hey, do some more. The rider's elbows are back. He's not pushing on him. I love the way this horse moved. He did not. He was barely breezing. He was breezing. He's got capable a lot more. I'm surprised they're going to run him for 80. My guess is because he probably has his share issues because he's so big and heavy that he doesn't last long.
All right. So what I'm also seeing about this horse, I mean, this is a 4-star work, and people are going to bet this horse. When I've handicapped this horse and looked at this horse earlier, you can see these past performances, and this horse looks like it needs the lead. It looks like it might get it, but would you bet on a horse like this? It's 7-5 on the EE morning line. It's got some speed, but there are other horses that have speed, but you made it a 4-star. How is the handicapper and customer supposed to play this horse, or how is that person supposed to interpret a 4-star? Because of course,
Scott, play against it at your own peril. I don't make the odds. I don't choose all I'm doing is I'm watching these horses and I'm telling you that horse is live.
Okay, so you, in this situation, I mean, obviously a horse can be training good, but maybe the race might not set up for the horse and the horse's style, correct? So what would you do in this case here, based on what you're seeing here?
He fits.
Well, I agree with that. For certain the horse fits, but
and by the way, what is Atras doing of late? He went into fairgrounds and was winning everything. He can this is I'm trying to look at who the owners are on this horse.
You know what? Let me ask you a question here. The owners are Twin Creeks. So,
yeah. They're looking to win. They want to win. What's the purse in here?
The purse is $60,000.
Okay. If he gets claimed and they lose him, they make $110,000 and they move on.
So let me ask you a question. When you're seeing a workout, on paper, this horse looks like it needs the lead type of horse. When you see the workout, like we just watched that workout, is there any indicator to you that this horse won't rate kindly? How can you tell?
Look at the way Look at the way his ears are going back and forth. He was relaxing. You're putting too much into, he needs the lead out of 3 starts. Okay. A lot of the times when he didn't win off the lead, he was facing much, much better horses. Infinitely better horses. Now he's going to go against a field that leaves a little to be desired, doesn't it?
No, for sure. And looks very relaxed there. I prefer to see a workout with company.
I don't look at the odds. See, I don't look at the odds. I can't. Yeah. I'm looking at this horse as an individual and the way he's moving and the way he's acting. I think this is the kind of horse that can win tomorrow at a short price, but it's in the early pick 5. Let's say you can come up with a couple of decent horses. You can single him and take that swing and see if you can hit, for a decent price. And you know what? If I don't have a pick 5 going, I don't have to play the race. Or if I can find a 20 to 30 to 1 shot to finish second, then I'm going to hammer exactus. So let's find a 20 to 31 shot in the second hole.
Perfect. That sounds good. All right. So the 8 horse of Baden, you don't have you have a star on here. There's really no note on it.
Where's he coming from?
This horse is coming from Turfway Park.
Right. We don't have anybody there. Yeah.
Okay.
Those stars, that to me is important sometimes. That is an algorithm that tells you how the horse has been training compared to other horses, just like the workout rankings in the Equibase that Equibase does. All it tells me is that the horse is working regularly. There was a question earlier, Scott, about patterns from a gentleman. Each trainer has an individual pattern. There was John. Thank you. I love when guys make absolute statements like that. Brad, you're wrong. Brad, you're wrong, because I have made tons of money on horses coming off a layoff. So you can now go do whatever, but there's been horses that I've bet at 20, 15, 20 to 1 that I love the way they were working and they fired. So that is an absolute statement. I do not believe in that. Try to narrow that down. So my thing about patterns, I hear guys say this a lot. I want to see every 7-day pattern. You know what you're looking at when you're looking at every 7-day pattern? You're looking at an assembly line. Doesn't matter what that horse is like that morning. He's working. To me, that I kind of tend to not to fall in for that. Oh, he's working every 7 days, or he's got this, he's got that. I love it when a trainer is going 8 days, 12 days, 9 days, 7 days, 6 days. You know what it tells me? It tells me that trainer is looking at that horse and saying, he's not going to work today. I'm going to work him in a couple of days. He had hard work last time out. I'll give him a couple of extra days, and I'll get him. Also, track conditions come into play. He may not want to work the horse on the mud every 7 days. Some guys are like automatic. I don't care if the world's coming to an end, the apocalypse, and a volcano just brought up in the middle of the infield. I'm working on that 7th day. Those are the ones I want to stay away from. I want to know the trainer that's actually paying attention to the horse.
So, Bruno, what are the subtle signs that you look for in a workout that might suggest a horse is on the verge of a breakout performance? Like maybe it has been working good, maybe it hadn't run good. What are you seeing, and how can the average handicapper be able to tell if a horse maybe is on the verge of a breakout race?
Understanding that horse. How about the other way around? How about a horse that's been in great form, and now all of a sudden he's going to go off form? And I start, maybe that's an even better way to put it. So you get a horse that is always set. You listen to the rider. He's letting the rider tell him what to do. And all of a sudden, after a big effort, he starts running off from the pole. He starts pinning his ears. He wants to run off, and he's putting 47, 59s. Those are works that are going to destroy that horse because he's over the top and he wants to do way, way too much. Now, what I like to see is I can get a chance to see the gallops and see if he's doing the same thing in the gallops. He's out. He's out. The door for me. I don't play that horse.
Okay, so we have this Kio Beach, who in March 23rd, you gave a 4-star work to. I mean, let's see here. So this horse has had one start. March 23rd, you gave it a 4-star work, then another 4-star work, and then a 3-star work. Why'd this horse get a 3-star work? Why couldn't it have back-to-back 4-star works, Bruno?
Doesn't work that way.
Okay, what happened?
Doesn't work that way. Isn't usually what you know what? If I give you one 4-star work, you pay attention to that.
Right.
I gave this horse 2 of them. But they don't have to have a 4-star work every single time. That's one thing I need to impregnate people's heads with this. Okay? You don't need 4-star works every single time. You do not. That's how you ruin horses. You let them run one time, you figure out what they are, and then you back off.
I'm with you. Okay.
So I love to show my passion on that, and I thought the impregnate thing was actually...
I liked it myself, but let's take a look at this March 23rd workout.
Okay.
Tell us about this.
Efa de Obra is owned by Wesley's son, who's a decent horse. He's actually a decent horse, and I believe he's a winner. So now they're going 47 out of the gate. Wesley does not really let these horses run. In the morning, he just doesn't do a whole lot. Kio Beach is on the inside. Look at the rider. He's basically got his hands back, and the other horse who's a winner is having to be pushed. Look at the ears up on Kio Beach on the inside. They're just straight up. They're just waiting on the other horse. Wow. This horse is waiting, going 47 flat. Look at the rider. The rider is kind of talking to him, and he's leaning towards trying to get him to slow him down. And they go 47 flat, and it was so easy, and he did it effortlessly, beating a horse that's actually pretty decent. You got to give him a 4-star. He showed me who he was.
That was a nice workout. I like that one. All right, here on March 30th, what do you see? What do you see here facing Scarlet Poppy, who I think Scarlet Poppy's a decent animal.
Yeah, she's in. She's also in. She's a turf horse. I think she's in on either Saturday or Sunday.
That's right.
But here, Kio Beach, he puts him inside again. They're going to go 101 and 2. He's nice and relaxed. What did I give him here? 3 or a 4?
4 here.
Yeah. I love that he was so relaxed from the pole. Sometimes horses can get really, really tough from the pole, and after they work a fast gait. Look at the rider. The rider again is standing up. He's basically, and you look at the hands, look at the elbows on Scarlet Puppy. You see how the hands are coming forward on the rider? That horse is pushing.
This horse. He's looking around waiting for the other horse.
Right. So you look at the 101 and 1 and you go, oh, well, you know what? He didn't, slow time. And, he basically, he set the hierarchy in his work. He did it really, really easy and never was ever asked for anything.
I appreciate that video, those videos right there for sure. This horse is the EquinEdge second pick, but it's a horse to watch. So it's the top pace, top win percentage, EE second pick. It's got 38% to win as well on this horse, and it's got a very nice breeding metric on our GSR right there towards the top.
He's 9-2 on the morning line. I said this on Saturday on my sheet. I said Wesley Ward's pony would never even be 12-1 on the morning line. But 9-2 on this horse, he's going to be 8-5.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. Beautiful workout there. Let's see if you do have a note here on this 9 horse, since it is the EquinEdge top pick.
You mind horse? That's a horse. Yes, it's. Yeah. He worked with Shore War on that day. They finished in 24. Hey, look. Rusty Arnold does a fantastic job with his horses. Mm-hmm. I remember when this horse was entered at Churchill in his debut. Gulfstream. I liked him that day, and he ended up running second to a decent horse first time out. This horse is okay. As I always, I have been saying this whole show long. If you really want to get into the game of watching horses and dealing and handicapping, get to know these horses. Go back and look at the replay from the debut. Find out who that horse is. And like I said, we found out who Kio Beach was. We found out who Modern Day Warrior is. Find out who they are. Just like you would find out who a baseball player on your team, and you want to find out who he is. You go look at his stats, his on-base percentage, and all those things. Find out who these horses are. That's the thing that can really help you become a better handicapper.
Rodney would love to know what maybe your thoughts are. I know you don't really have a workout report on this horse from Turfway Park, but why don't we just look at this horse real quickly for Steve Asmussen. This horse faced 11 other horses last time out and got a nice second-place finish. And the breeding metrics about the same. Average really breeding for maiden special weight at Keeneland. The win percentage goes up a little bit. The SOR, though, this race came up awfully tough with Kio Beach. In my opinion, just on the handicapping side, Rodney, I think it's going to be very, very difficult for May Strong to beat either the 9 on command or Kio Beach, especially after watching those workouts on Kio Beach. Wow. I mean, I'm most likely going to make Kio Beach my single, I would imagine. On command, it looks decent as well, obviously, and we talked about that horse. Gets off the rail, so second off the layoff. That's a really good. That leads me to this question for you, Bruno. I was always taught that a workout, one race is worth 10 workouts or 7 workouts, whatever it is, but a race is worth so much. Off the layoff, this horse had a nice third-place finish, ran pretty good against a maiden special weight at Gulfstream Park. What do you expect for a horse second time out? How do you know when a trainer is really good first time out? And really, I mean, we have the stat here, of course, and you can see Arnold is 13% with second-time horses back and 8% with first back. So he's a little bit better with second-time horses.
Well, my whole point is I look at the time difference between the first start and the second start. So, some guys will have a horse run big, and they'll bring him back in 3 weeks, and that's the kiss of death for me. I like to see a first-time starter, per rule, you might want to write this down, 5 to 6 weeks between starts. You get guys that take horses off big efforts first time out, and they run them right back because they go, oh, yeah, he's doing great. And guess what? They go backwards. Yeah. Instead, give them the extra time because these first-time starters, they're not strong like these older horses. Yeah, they're a horse. Yeah, they've been training, but they don't have the constitution, of these other horses that have been running for 3, 4, months straight, or even at 3-4 years, or they're older horses. So you've got to really be careful with first-time starters and how you bring back second time. So also, can I go back to the Asmussen horse?
Yeah, please.
Do you have on your site, and I really hope you if you don't, you will, can you come up with statistics on how a trainer does at a particular track at a particular time of the year?
We talked about that, and that's absolutely on the docket. It's a really great idea that we show what the trainer, jockey, owner stats are for horses at a meet or the certain time of year. I agree with you 100%.
Okay, so Asmussen usually has his third and fourth string over at Turfway. He has his first and second strings at Oaklawn and Fairgrounds during the winter. So if that horse is at Turfway, number one, that's strike number one for me. Second of all, Steve Asmussen is a phenomenal trainer, high percentage trainer. But Keeneland and April, him don't mix because they're coming in from Oaklawn, they're coming in from Fairgrounds. He's getting them their feet on the ground. They're getting re-energizing Kentucky. He's got his better horses going to Churchill Downs. He's gearing up for the Churchill Downs meet. So when I look at Steve Asmussen at Keeneland, I usually say, Steve, I love you. You're one of my favorite trainers, but not today. So it's all about when you see this guy. There's a reason why those horses are stabled at Turfway. They're just not rhyme and reason. They say, oh, we're going to take Mamie Strong and send it to Turfway. No, there's a reason for it. It's a cut below what they call their top.
Bob has an interesting question. Horses that are running a mile and an eighth and up, Bruno, what if they have a workout of 5 furlongs, 5/8? What does that tell you, or does that mean anything at all whatsoever that it's a 5/8 drill? Is it, could just be a breeze, keep the horse happy? Like, what do you make of a 5 furlong work with a horse that's going longer?
Well, first of all, half-mile works have broken many clockers. Have broken them,
What do you mean by that? Can you explain that?
Good distance to judge any horse. There's some horses that are really quick a half mile, and they can't go 14 for another furlong. For example, they can go 47, but then they wouldn't be able to go 101 at 5/8. Right. So what I look for at 5/8 is I look for horses that are distance horses to get a good 5 furlong work with a big gallop out and get a lot of air, because you need conditioning. And you got to be fit to go that distance of ground. I love 5 furlong workouts. I think 5 furlong workouts are the biggest. If you notice, a lot of the 4-star works for me come from 5 furlong workouts.
But how are we, yeah, of course. I mean, you have many videos and stuff on that, and you mentioned gallop outs. But what if we don't have a workout report and we just see a 5/8 drill? What are we supposed to do with that? We can't see whether the horse galloped out or not. Is there any tell?
Get a good workout report. Get somebody that tells you something.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to see one of these horses go 23, 35 and come home in 26 and change. You want to see them going much easier and finish up and gallop out and bounce back. For me at the track to see them like that, that's what it means something to me. Get somebody that knows something about horses, not a guy that just sits there and clicks and goes, well, he went 47 and 59. Okay, great, but how did he do it? Did he do it all out? Was he completely under a drive? Those are not the kind of works that I would ever give anything other than a 3 or a 2. I've given horses 59 flat at 2.
We got the Maker's Mark tomorrow. That's race number 9 at Keeneland. It's a grade 1 event on the turf. I think the weather's supposed to be better. $600,000 on the line for these 4-year-olds and upward. And the 3-horse Naval Power. Talk about you don't have a video on this horse. It doesn't look like, but this horse
right there.
What's that?
Oh, you know what? That is we had issues with, I think. Go back to the we had a video on the 6th.
Unfortunately, we don't have that workout. Oh, the 6th right here. We're on the 6th, but the video's not there. Okay, so but whatever you can remember on the horse, we don't have the video.
Check with Chris.
Do you have the video?
Chris, yeah, check with Chris. He should have it.
Tell me about. Yes, Chris has the video. Okay, Chris, can you show that video, please? All right, we're gonna get that video for you, folks, in just a second.
loaded, just so. And here's the situation with this. The European trainers train different than American trainers. If you go watch their horses, they're absolutely immaculate. The way they space themselves, the way they move, the way they do things. That's Didia, by the way. That's Didia. That's not them.
That's the wrong one. Let me ask you a question while Chris is trying to get that thing. Do you prepare differently, or do your workouts, are they different for stakes horses in comparison to, let's say, maidens or veterans or whatever? How do you look at maidens and feel good about, hey, they're gonna do well first time out, or for that matter, stakes horses? Do you look at them differently?
Hey, Scotty, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm older than dirt. You still got, I remember when you had long hair and it's still dark. Mine is, I don't know which way it's going to go on any given day.
Yeah.
And you remember me when I had long black hair.
I do.
So I've been around enough that it's almost becomes automatic for me.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at a maiden, I already seen them a couple of times. If I don't know, you know what I do? If I have a video or I see a maiden and I figure out the name, I'll go and look at it on Equibase, who it is, where it came from. Where was it sold? If it was bred, who owns it? And I kind of get a snapshot on who that horse is. So now when I'm watching it work, I have reference. A lot of people don't have any context when they see it works.
Right.
And they just, oh, well, he worked good. Well, first of all, that's not English, but it's worked well. But you have to really, I go back to what I've been saying. It's been the motto for this Thursday, April 11th, Beat the Clock show.
Yeah.
Get to know the horses. Know who they are. So if it's a stakes horse, and I'm like, okay, this horse worked okay, you go back and say, what did he do in his career? You go back and you refresh yourself on what they did. And then I go back and watch the work. And I may even go back and watch some other works I had just to be able to get a line on that horse. And when I do that, I'm very, very strong in my opinion because I see the differences. Even if they're minute, I can see the difference in those horses. So for me, it's kind of a tough question to answer because to me, it comes natural.
I get it. Okay, but okay. Look, I remember when I've been to a couple of sales now. My first sales, I bought 4 or 5 horses. My question is, demeanor seems to be important. So when you're looking at a first-time starter or a young horse on the track and they get on the track, what kind of demeanor are we looking for, Bruno?
I want a horse that's asleep in the post parade.
Really? Like falling asleep, literally falling asleep.
I don't want a horse that's doing all of this and this and this. No, that's bad. A lot of people go, oh, my God, look at the energy of this horse. He wants to run. And I'm like, no, dude, that's nervous anxiety and nervous energy. That's not good. You want to see a horse well composed, almost like he's asleep. If you're watching horses in the paddock like in Saratoga, right?
Yeah.
You got all these horses doing all these things, and everybody's drawn to the one that's being the jackass. I want to pay attention to the horse that's in the corner, not doing anything with his owner right there. His owner is petting him, or the trainer standing next to him, and the horse is doing absolutely nothing. He's asleep.
Now, what about Bruno, the horse that's sweating, and its flank and its legs, and the white sweat is running down the horse's legs and neck? What do we do with that horse?
Back in 1993, Steve Askin came out to California, and he had never been there before. And I guess he got kicked out of somebody else's clocker box, and he ends up in mine. And Bracco, who was going to be one of the favorites in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, comes out, and he is just leathered out, head to toe, kidney sweat, everything. And Steve's eyes got like, ooh, he starts taking notes, And I'm kind of looking out of the corner of my eye. I say, put the pencil away, Steve. He goes, why? He goes, if he's not dripping wet like that, he must be sick or something. Well, he was dripping wet again in the post parade for the Breeders' Cup. He won. That's the year the hair came over, and he was dead sore coming out onto the track, and it was like, he's not going to be a player. And Bracco went on to win. Fast forward to the Santa Anita Derby in 1994. He is the big favorite. He comes out, he's dry as a bone. And he's light, and I went, no. He wins the Santa Anita Derby, barely. But then he went up the track at Churchill Downs and I think Go for Gin won that year. So you got to know your horse. If your horse...
What was the tell?
The sweating.
Gotcha.
He was a horse that was a really intense animal. I owned a filly one time, one of my first big horses, Majestic Sound. And one day we're in the paddock, and she's getting really hot. She's all washed out. Rafael Meza is going to ride. And I remember my trainer, Jack B. Haynes, came over. He was like, we were like family. And he goes, what are we going to do today? Which she had run big the last 3 times on the lead. I took his form, I ripped it in half, I threw it in the trash. I said, the same damn thing we did last time. So he tells Rafael, get on the horse, take it out get it out of line and take it out all by herself, let her relax. Can you believe that horse that was all washed out, coming off of the post parade, and everybody's bailing off of it, takes her away, gets her back to the backside. She's going to the gate 3 minutes later. She's completely dry. So sometimes just watching them coming out on the track, you need to be able to watch them all the way through. Now, you get a horse that it's borderline. It's acting up a little bit, but I've always said, that horse is there's a 90-10% chance that horse will completely fall apart going to the gate. People see it. Oh, Lord, it looks great. He's moving around. He's doing this. He's doing that. All of a sudden, you see them going to the gate, and they're dripping wet. You get to the gate, and they're doing this. They're shaking. Anytime you see a horse in the back of the gate, and he's shaking like a scared little kid, that horse has no shot. They mentally fell apart. So sometimes, instead of making an opinion right at the post parade, watch the way they warm up and watch the way they go to the gate, because that'll tell you a lot.
Will you bet a horse that breaks through the gate early? Like literally breaks through the gate and they have to put the horse back in? Will you bet that horse or cancel your bets?
I don't like it, but it all depends if I can cancel a bet.
Okay, but you don't like it. Like you prefer to cancel that bet?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Get your head, Now, I have seen times where a horse is breaking from the gate, goes an eighth of a mile, they grab him, they bring him back, comes out of the gate, and runs them off their feet. There was a horse named Donato that Rafael Becerra had at Hollywood Park. Broke out of the gate, went a quarter of a mile. They grabbed him, they brought him back, put him in the gate, goes wire to wire. That's the only race that horse won in his career.
Oh, wow.
Because all of a sudden he had that adrenaline going.
Bruno, in your experience, how do changes in equipment, like seen during workouts, translate to a good performance during the day?
You're talking about blinkers, basically.
Yeah, I guess blinkers. Yeah, blinkers. And then I guess we never know if they actually, if they're putting Lasix on a horse for a workout, maybe it's the first time and all of a sudden the workout is a good workout. Maybe there's something there. Are there any flags or positive indicators that the bettors can know about in a workout?
I can relate this through this story. Good buddy of mine, Jimmy Frazier, hangs out with Jeff Mullins. And we're all at dinner one night. And somebody in the group says, Jeff, you're adding blinkers on this horse tomorrow. That looks like a real positive move. Before Jeff could answer, Jimmy jumps in. And he says, oh, well, he's trying to get the horse to show more speed, and he's trying to get him to maybe relax a little bit more. There's a lot more that goes with the blinkers. And Mullins just looks up and goes, no. He goes, I just did it to change things up.
Yeah. So
I more want to know if a horse is adding a figure eight noseband. I more want to know if I see a different type of saddle with the breastplate, because that tells me that the saddle can slip. There's so many little subtle things that you notice that it doesn't just about blinkers. I think blinkers are probably the most overrated equipment used in racing.
I so agree with you. But let me ask you a question on that note, though, because I don't know the answer to this, and I would love to know, and I know our audience would love to know. What happens when you see blinkers on a horse first time? Can you usually look back to that last workout and blinkers were on that horse, or do you see trainers putting blinkers on horses, but they didn't have the blinkers on for that last workout before the race?
You got to know your trainer. Some trainers put blinkers on everything. Remember Cesar Dominguez in California? That horse, that guy put blinkers. Even I think he had blinkers on his grandma. You know, I mean, it was he's just everything had blinkers on. Baffert early in their career would put blinkers on horses and then take them off after they learned. Put blinkers to me are like these, okay? Blinkers are like these cheaters that I have, these reading glasses. So for me, I feel more comfortable. My eyes aren't that bad. I can still see very well. But when I put these on, I feel more grounded. I feel more ability to be able to see things better, more clearly. And it really, I think it's the same thing with horses. It just makes them sometimes a little bit more quieter. It gets them more relaxed. They don't see everything around them, you know. But I see blinkers being, you know, try them once or twice and then take them off. You know, I'm going to tell you, I love horses coming out first time out without any equipment on. No equipment tells me a lot about that horse. And if that trainer is a guy that wears blinkers all the time, that's true, Scott. Most of them, not all of them.
Okay, listen, Chris, what do we have? What do we have the workout for? Do we have it for horse number 3? Are we looking at Naval Power right now?
This is on Saturday. This is Naval Power and Masters of the Sea.
Okay.
And Naval Power is in front, and Masters of the Sea is sitting behind. This is a typical Godolphin work. They go slow. They're not working for speed. And he's going to put Master of the Sea right behind. And he's going to just let them range up. Now you got to remember, they're running probably 90 to 100 feet outside of the inside rail. Look how far they're out. So you can't base on time. But now Masters of the Sea is gonna sit on the outside and just quick. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Masters of the Sea is on the opposite side, on the stand side. That's Naval Power under all the pressure. But look at the easiness of how Masters of the Sea finishes off Naval Power, who didn't work badly. Now, if you go back and look on. I will have this. I'll add this on. These two actually worked on Tuesday as well. They worked within 3 days. And they went 53. The clockers didn't give them a time because the barn said, oh, we're only going easy work. But Master of the Sea was absolutely fantastic there. They came home in 22.
Bruno, just to be clear for everybody, the Masters of the Sea was on the inside, running easy, correct?
Masters on the inside. Masters of the Sea is on the lead. He's the furthest away.
Yeah.
Ends up being on the stand side. You know, it gets confusing here because they're so far away from the inner rail.
Yeah, but you just seeing how, I mean, that is a really nice, clearly, like, I think it's easy for our viewers that, I think we could throw out the 3-horse fairly easily. The Master of the Sea, there's no comparison from what I just saw.
No, there isn't. However, what kind of horse is Naval Power? Naval Power won the Breeders' Cup Mile last year. Yeah, pull him up. He's Master of the Sea is doing tremendous. Maybe if he was working with a lesser mate, is Naval Power a lazy horse? Does he need to be ridden? Is he a different kind of horse than Masters of the Sea? See, that's the whole part of it that we don't know. Now, what I like to do is I like to go to racingpost.com, and I want to see what this horse's record is, who did he face, what he's doing, and that helps me a lot. But Master of the Sea is just I mean,
this is an easy one for me. Like, look at Naval Power. This is an okay horse. William Buick was on this horse 2 back. William Buick stays on Master of the Seas. Master of the Seas has 8 wins in 16 races for $2.2 million. And there's no comparison between the two horses in my mind.
No, and it showed in that work.
Yeah,
showed in their class. And sometimes, let horses show you who they are.
Yeah. No, that was. I mean, it wasn't in that workout. Master of the Sea was 1,000 times better than Naval Power, and that says a lot considering Naval Power's won 6 races in 7 lifetime tries. So that's pretty impressive right there. But what's even more amazing is that Master of the Sea isn't even the EquinEdge top pick. Emmanuel is. So I'm looking at this horse, and I don't know if we know anything about this horse. You have a workout here back in March.
That's the former Pletcher horse.
Yeah, it's
a horse.
Bill Pletcher horse.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, he can't hold Master of the Sea's jock.
Yeah, I agree.
Of horses wear them, but if they did wear them, Emmanuel couldn't hold his jock. But it's Todd Pletcher, and he does very, very well. One thing I want to say, again, let the horses show you who they are.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so we've got, let's see, we've got race number 9 there, Maker's Mark. To me, I don't care. This Master of the Sea looks like the real deal. I agree with people that are going to single this horse. I mean, based on that workout, I mean, you made Naval Power, who's won 300K in 7 tries, look terrible. And so I think Emmanuel, our top pick, is going to have its hands full. So
maybe that's the exacta. Let me just say one thing to handicappers out there. A lot of handicappers go to handicap a race they look for they want to find the price horse.
Right.
And they go in with that mentality. Oh, I can't play Master of the Sea. Master of the Sea is too short. Can't play him. Well, you know what? This is horse racing, and you pick winners. You start off by watching a race and deciding who do you think is going to win that race. Then you go and look at the odds. Then you decide what you're going to do. But a lot of people do it the other way around, and those are the ones that always lose. Or they'll pick 1 out of 10 long shots by luck and think they're the greatest things in sliced bread. Yeah. I believe that you go in and look for the winner. You look for the winner, and you build around that.
Agreed. Let me ask you a question. In race number 10 tomorrow at Keeneland, well, first of all, do you worry? Sylvain has a really good question. Do you worry about soft ground tomorrow? And if so, how do we know who it will affect in a positive manner or a negative manner?
I think all the Europeans usually handle that.
Okay.
I will tell you one thing. I do look a bit longer and harder at speed horses on a softer turf.
You look at speed horses. Okay, so when it's softer turf, you think speed holds?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because if it's soft, certain horses can't grab and finish. So it becomes a merry-go-round. They just go up and down. Where if you got a firm course, horses just fly over it and can put their feet into the ground and accelerate. Now, Master of the Sea is running every single type of scenario in England and in France and in Ireland, all the places that he's run. So, to me, it doesn't affect him. And he's actually the kind of horse that is very handy, and you can put him in certain spots. Okay.
I'm looking at race number 10. There is an interesting horse here, the 5-horse Gilded Kraken, who you did have a workout. You do have a video on this horse on February 24th. You and I talked about this. This horse has since had a race on 3-3, got a 4th place finish. But you talked about this and said, when you have a nice workout on a horse.
Read the comment on that.
Okay, let's see what it says. It says, Gilded Kraken and miles ahead as we picked up at the 3-furlong pole and finishing well in 35-4, 48-4. I would like to watch this and have you just tell us about this, because are we supposed to take a workout that was 4 workouts ago and take it seriously as it applies today?
Because, this is a horse that has always been a real good workhorse, and he's working with Miles Ahead, who was one of the favorites and didn't run at all the other day. But Miles Ahead is a good stakes type sprinter. But Miles Ahead is one lazy MFO. Okay, he is a lazy horse. You cannot base anything you see on the works. So my comment would have been, yes, he finished ahead in front of Miles Ahead, but Miles Ahead to me is just such a bad workhorse because he doesn't try. He's lazy. That makes Gilded Kraken look better than he really is.
Okay. All right. So race number 9, Chris is telling me we got was it race number 9 on Saturday? Okay. Now let's go to Saturday, Bruno, and we've got race number 9. All right. Let's see what we got here.
You're still on 412.
On 412, let's see here. Hold on here. Why is
You can
that?
go 413.
Oh, gotcha. Let's see here. 413.
I love your layout, by the way. It looks great.
What's that?
Your layout is great.
Oh, thank you. Oh, okay. Didia. Chris says that Didia is interesting.
Before we go into play cells, let's go and take a look at the April 3rd work comments that I have.
Okay, April 3rd.
Go back to April 3rd. Go ahead and go back to the April 3rd.
I'm on it.
Yeah.
It says more than 5 furlongs in sharp, 13-2, 25, 37, blah, 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 and 13 flat, finishing 11-3. For a good turf horse, that's pretty darn good. Last 5 furlongs in 59-3.
Now, how did I get that last 5 furlongs in 59-3? Go ahead and put it back up. If you take the 113 flat and then you take the first split of 13-2 away, that's 59-3.
Right.
So now we have a snapshot. Go back to the work before that.
Okay, that's the you got a video on this. No note, but there is a video.
There will be a note. I got to add the note.
Okay, and then it's a 4-star workout. This horse is working solo. Let's take a look at Didia.
102-2 and 14-2. Actually, I had it a little bit faster. So what I refer to this is, here I have a work that goes 14. He goes 14 for 3/4. But then the following work, it goes 13 and finishes in 59-3. So it stepped up. After this work, it actually improved further next time out. So and I love that basically the rider standing straight up. He's not asking this horse to do anything. She is a phenomenal performer. She's only the one time that she got beat in the Breeders' Cup. She didn't get a trip at all. She came back. I was on with you guys on when she ran, I believe, at Gulfstream and won. Before that, it only lost to market segmentation on a slow pace. This filly is just absolutely phenomenal. And you can see, watch this. Okay, so now we're going 102-2. The ears are up. She's going to go into the turn and do more. So the 102-1 is not a time. People that look at time, they're not going to see this. Look at her take off and go 114 here, and she's still not done. She's going to go about a 128, 127.4, 128, for 7/8. She did a lot more than 102-1, and that time is absolutely just does not do the work any justice at all.
Gotcha.
Now we have set the table. We've got 2 3/4 works, and now we go to the green to the November 9th. I think it's a half mile on
just a 3/8 breeze. That's all.
Okay, 3/8 breeze on the turf.
Right.
A video of that.
No video.
You just had it.
Not the April 9th. The March 28th we did the video.
No, this one's right here. That's
okay.
April 9th. That probably I need to add a bunch of more work. So now this horse is not going to do much. She's not meant to do much. You can't expect it for this horse to go out there and work fast. Had 2 back-to-back fantastic 3/4. So now you're going to expect for the trainer to slow her down, give her a nice little blowout. And watch the way she finishes bouncing along here on the turf. She likes to throw her tail a little bit, but she's got her ears up. She's happy. She's doing everything good. You do not need to see a fast work. I go by horses that work slow and cash a lot of bets. But look at her ears. She's up. They're up. She's doing great. She's finishing well within herself. The rider never moved. This actually puts the exclamation mark on the pattern, because you've had the 2 key works, the 2 3/4, and now she went an easy 3/8 on the turf just to get a feel for it and just to get a blowout.
Okay, so that's just that was my next question. It's just an easy blowout. By the way, Didia, the Argentinian bred, has 10 wins and 15 lifetime tries. 10 wins and 15 lifetime tries. And you can see, of the $1.1 million, 13 of those 15 races were won on the turf. 2 times they tried dirt, no bueno on the dirt. And you can see when you look at the GSR tab, 52 on the dirt, and on the turf, you can see it's a 64. This is a very hard knocking mare, and she's a major player on the EquinEdge morning line. She is 3-1 on that. There's 3 of them at 3-1 on the EquinEdge morning line. That's the 5-horse English Rose, Surge Capacity, and Didia. So that's a really nice look there at Didia. Is there anybody else we want to cover on Saturday's races, Bruno, that you can think of?
We can talk. I mean, we can talk about it. This field has got a lot of decent horses. You've got English Rose, I believe is her name.
English Rose, we've got that. You've got a note on there that says worked out with Silver Knot for Appleby, and that's a nice note on this horse. It's a 3-star. Do you remember this horse much? It's first time here,
and it was the typical Charles Appleby playing follow the leader around the track, and then they finished up down the lane. She seems to be a classy filly. You know, Appleby has a tremendous percentage here. I love you if you could pop up Charles Appleby at Keeneland. I would guess he's probably 30 to 40%. Right. To me, it's the kind of horse that you have to pay attention to. By the way, if we get 4-1 on Didia, they're going to have to pry my little hands off that.
What about Gina Romantica? That's our top pick. Do you know much about this horse at all?
How many horses does Chad Brown have? He's got Fluffy Socks.
Let's see here. Chad Brown. Chad Brown has 1, 2, 3, 4 horses in here.
Okay, which one is the lesser of the horses?
The Fluffy Socks. Irad Ortiz is aboard.
Okay, who else is next?
Then you've got Surge Capacity and Gina Romantica. I would say Gina Romantica. The lowest EE morning line is Surge Capacity, who's EquinEdge's second pick.
You know, I have this little game that I play with Chad Brown horses. I look at them and see who needs to be able to get a graded performance. Who needs a grade 1? I don't believe Surge Capacity's got one, does she?
Surge Capacity did get a grade 1 against 3 and up last time out, facing older this time, first race this year. Okay. And that horse is pretty much unblemished. I mean, that Surge Capacity looks like a really, really nice animal.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I'm going to use one. Gina Romantica may be the forgotten horse.
Interesting because, Chad Brown is 25% off of a layoff. Here's one for you, Bruno. This horse hasn't been seen since the Breeders' Cup Mile. Had a tough campaign. Actually only had 4 races in 2023. And many horses you see by the top trainers go on the shelf after a really tough campaign. Breeders' Cup Mile runs a nice 4th place finish against 12 other horses, and then you see this horse come back ready for the year. Is this an indicator of an issue with the horse, or are they just giving the horse some time out ready for the older campaign?
Well, okay, I'm going to throw you as the owner of Gina Romantica and the trainer. You're the owner trainer. Okay? After you run in the Breeders' Cup grade 1 in November, where will you run her next time?
You're right. What races are there to enter the horse in? You're right.
Pegasus, Turf World.
Yeah.
But he's got what? He's got another, what? You got another 25 in your barn that you can run there? Yeah. So it's all about, you're going to need him a break because you want to have this horse ready to be able to do some good in New York this spring and summer. So you're going to give him a little bit of time. You're going to bring him back. Now, I grew up in the game seeing the tail end of Charlie Whittingham's career. and he brought back a lot of horses off a layoff. When he ran a horse that is grade 1, grade 2 material, and he ran it in an overnight stakes, he was telegraphing you what the chances of that horse. He was telling you, I don't think this horse is ready to do this yet. And sure enough, he had a horse named Flawlessly. I don't know if everybody remembers her. She was phenomenal. And he brought her back one time and he put her in a little stake. Didn't put her in a graded race, put her in a stake. And she got beat. Next time out, she's in a grade 1, she airs. So sometimes with guys like Chad Brown is watch the placement. If he's doing anything with a grade 1 horse other than grade 1, grade 2, then you know that they're not well meant. They might win for fun at a short price, but I'll take a chance of betting against them in that spot. In a grade 1 with Gina Romantica, he's really telling you she's good. She's fine.
Well, and you've been racing against top competition, $1.25 million. I guess if you had to choose between Gina Romantica and Surge Capacity, they're both coming off of layoffs. You have Surge Capacity, who's got a 4 wins and 1 second. And
is that Klarovich?
That is the Klarovich stables, yeah.
Okay, and Gina Romantica is Peter Brandt, right?
That's correct.
Okay. My mind is still okay, even though I'm old as dirt. I would look at Klarovich first and Peter Brandt second.
Why is that?
Because I think with Klarovich, he's much more going to be live off the bench because I think Peter Brandt loves to play the long game.
Interesting. Okay. And let's see if we can see that. Yeah, you can see that here. A layoff here from the Queen Elizabeth at Keeneland last year, and then first race back was in June over at Monmouth Park, and the horse got a 4th place finish, and that was only against 5 other horses. Yeah, Gina Romantica looks okay. Surge Capacity.
Good point. Why did he run Gina Romantica in Monmouth?
Yeah, why is that?
What I just said. He didn't run her in New York. He ran her in Monmouth to get her a race under the belt.
Yep.
Softer competition and an ability to build off of that.
Now, what's he doing here then? He's bringing this horse back in a grade 1 against some super top notch competition.
I wouldn't. I'll tell you, if I'm going to play this race, I'll probably use Didia on top of Gina Romantica and Surge Capacity.
Yeah.
And maybe English Rose in there too. I've had enough of fluffy socks.
Yeah, Oldie was saying that 5 wins in 24 races. I think we've seen everything we're going to see from this horse. The breeding of this mare is just unbelievable. I mean,
look at the race last time out.
What's that?
The last race in the Hillsborough at Tampa.
Yeah.
Awful. I mean, she was supposed to win that. She got a perfect trip, and
you're right.
Who won that? She didn't win that day, right?
No, she didn't win that day, and she's only 8% on our numbers to win the race this time. I mean, she's got tremendous GSRs. I mean, it's just incredible breeding. She'll probably make a very good mare. I mean, she has earned $1.25 million, and she's spent the money in 18 to 24 races. So you can't knock her, but she might be ready to go on the shelf and then make room for a horse like Surge Capacity.
Yeah, she's been running all winter long, right?
Yeah. Bruno, I think it's important for us to be able to explain this right here on Surge Capacity. So we don't really have any notes on Surge Capacity. The horse has been training, it looks like, in what's PAY, Florida? That's
Payson Park. All those stars mean that it's like the workout rankings, right?
Okay.
The one star might be the horse was like 40 out of 64 horses. The 3-star means it was upper 10 echelons of works that day, comparing with other horses that are on the tab.
Okay.
2 stars means it just there isn't anything there to really say, hey, you need to pay attention to this. That's all. There's no hidden meaning. There's no there's nothing to unlock. You look at there's one work on there. Go back to the work. Go back to the works.
Okay, let's
go. There was one work. It was a 3-star work, which could have been the key work in that set.
Okay, let's go back to there. Okay.
Yeah, there would have been the March 31st. You know, it was basically the work that was like, okay, this one really kind of told you a little bit that they let her run a little bit. That's why I believe more in Gina Romantica than I do into Search Capacity. Even though Search Capacity is Klarovich, I'm still going to use it, but Gina Romantica is the better horse.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like a very nice horse. Whether it's going to win first time back, I don't know. And but Sylvain asked a question. Let's go to it. Let's just see. He says, can Walkathon, the one horse, go gate to wire? Let's take a look at the simulated race. We'll sort it from the top as far as speed, because it is the top pace number. Let's run the race. Now, it does have a slight lead over the 9 horse, who, by the way, is 36%. Didia is 36% to win, and Didia is right there. So Didia is tactical, and Didia takes a short lead right now going into the second call. Doesn't probably need to. I would agree with you. You know, based on what I'm seeing here with this race simulator, Bruno, the 9 horse could be very, very tough in this race. Now, here comes Gina Romantica and Surge Capacity. Okay. Really coming on, and look, it's a very, very, even the 2 horse here. Who's that 2 horse? Fluffy Socks. There you go, making a late move.
They're Chad Browns. I mean, they're Chad. You know, the one thing about Walkathon, it is going to be a softer turf enough that will they propel this one to be better. Also, another part that, you know, I think that is a wonderful simulated race. You got to look at it and say, Didia has only lost a couple of races in America. She lost the Breeders' Cup when she didn't get a trip at all. And then she lost the market segmentation when they went 50 and I think 115 or something that day. Otherwise, she's won them all. So she's got that.
Let me show you another thing. She clearly has her issues, whatever they are. But look at this. On 8-16, went on the shelf. Next race on 325 off a layoff, wins the race. 6-9 goes on the shelf. 10-7 comes back, wins the race. 11-4 goes on the shelf. 127 comes back, wins the race.
Well, it's not about. Let me get. It's not about having issues. Okay, you got to have to kind of put that aside.
Okay.
What it is sometimes they'll take them and turn them out. You know, they lose a little bit. They are fillies. They'll lose a little bit of weight. They'll get a little sour. So Ignacio Correas is very, very protective of this filly. So as soon as she maybe back off her feed, he's throwing her outside and putting her in and getting her to the R&R. If we could do that with people, we would have a whole lot nicer world, wouldn't we?
We sure would. I personally, in my opinion, you're taught, like I was taught early on. I mean, I really look at these graded races and see. I'm looking at a horse like the 1 horse, and I know it has a pace advantage, but the 9's so tactical, going to be sitting right off the flank of the 1. That the class, look at the SOR numbers. I mean, the class of the 9 is just tremendous. And when you look at the 1 horse, they're in the low 70s. You look at Didia, they're in the mid 80s. I don't even think I could, no way would my money go on this 1 horse for me.
But you know what? It might be a horse you might want to use in a trifecta.
I don't know, because I see the Chad Brown horses closing. I even see the 2 horse, so you might get a price on closing if for whatever reason they go too fast. But who gets first run for sure
It's
at the
Didia.
top of the stretch is Didia.
Yeah.
He's right, already in the lead in the stretch, and then late here comes the 6 and the 7. For me, it'll be an exact 9 over 6-7. I might even do a trifecta 9 with 2-6-7 with 2-6-7.
Well, let me answer your question that you asked a minute ago about Didia maybe having problems. After the last race on January 27th,
Yeah.
you own Didia. Where are you going to run her?
Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? You go in the Pacific Classic, or not the Classic, but you go in the Pegasus, and you run, and of course you're going on a layoff now. There's nowhere else to run up until probably now. So I agree with that. You also had a layoff until you're right, after the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf, you took a layoff there. I mean, that was an extremely tough race. In the New York Grade 1, where you got second, you take a little bit of a break and you come back in the Rodeo. That's a bit of a break right there. I'm not sure that you needed that break from June all the way through the summer when there's some nice races
But
there.
there was
So
nothing. But there was. I don't think he wanted to run at Saratoga.
maybe.
So think about it that way. He was setting it up. He worked from the Breeders' Cup back. In other words, he looked at it and say, I want to get Didia to November 4th at Santa Anita. What do I need to do? I got to race her in June. I don't want to knock her out with another race in August in the heat at Saratoga. So what do? I'm going to get her ready, and I'm going to run her in October at Santa Anita, get accustomed to the California weather, get accustomed to the California air. I'm going to give her a race there and then come into the Breeders' Cup. However, in the Breeders' Cup, she got an absolutely awful ride. She just never in it, fell back, and she still only got beat. How many lengths?
4.5 lengths, yeah.
It was a horrible trip. She was 11th. You look at her. She was 11th, way far back. That's not her.
Yeah. Let's see here. All right, so yeah, I think we're in agreement that Didia is going to be very, very tough. I'm on Didia, and I think the Chad Brown horses are going to round out the field. All right, that's the Jenny Wy Stakes. We've got a Grade 3 race, the Stone Street Lexington Stakes, and this is $400,000, and these are 3-year-olds. We're going to run the race first, okay? So it gives us some content to talk about. I'm going to sort the pace. The fastest horses are on top. This is the Scotty Longshot horse, Lucky Jeremy. Let's run this thing. So far, going into the second call, the 10's maintaining a pretty easy lead here. And now here comes the 2, here comes the 8, and now the 10's behind already. The 2 horse, the Wine Steward, we'll talk about that. Big GSR, 97, 22% to win. Passes the 10 going into the stretch. The finish is coming up. And really, there's a wall of them coming up. This race might be a lot tougher than we think it is. But Liberal Arts is the winner in the simulated race, Bruno.
I thought the Wine Steward. What happened to the Wine Steward?
The Wine Steward
ended
up get beat last minute in the stretch by Liberal Arts. This horse has got some tremendous breeding, and in the Breeders' Futurity last year, so hasn't been seen since last year at Keeneland, barely lost that race against a nice group of horses here. Okay, I think this sets us up for a really good question for you. I bet against horses like this all the time because what a horse does is facing 2-year-olds and now facing 3-year-olds, months later is a completely different, because many of these 2-year-olds that are now 3-year-olds have grown and developed. I think people are looking at these past performances, and you might differ from me, but for me, I have no idea what this horse is going to do, but what he did here means about 20% to me.
He faced good horses. Locked is a pretty good horse. Very good horse. He ends up getting and he's off the Derby trail. I'm not a believer in Liberal Arts.
Okay. Why?
I mean, I've liked him, but he promises a lot every single time out, and he doesn't deliver. Last time out, he got into trouble. Okay, what was the problem before that? And what was the problem before that? And what was the problem?
Rank got out in the first turn, angled 3 wide. That one seemed like an excuse. Now, that being said, in the last race, the horse, this horse is still only 12% to win this race. You know what I think? I think this is an absolute wide open race. That's what I think.
It is. I mean, I was looking at Hades, but I think he's a sprinter, and he did well when he stretched down around 2 turns. First time out in the Holy Bull and won it. But usually when sprinters go in 2 turns, the second and third time is always the hardest one.
Now, the GSR does not suggest this horse is a sprinter. Is there a reason why you think, just based on workouts you've seen, that this horse is a sprinter?
The sire, for one thing. The second thing, didn't show the speed he showed in the past in the Florida Derby. Didn't break all that well. Had to be shoved, got dirt in his face, and backed right on up. This horse needs an absolute perfect trip.
You know what? Actually, Eric makes a really good point. Like, How much planning did you do?
With all respect to Eric, he didn't do any running last time out.
That's fair. That's fair too. But that's fair. But the horse is coming back awfully sudden against a good group of horses too. Like I don't like the return so fast like that.
Let me add one more thing.
Yeah.
Going into the Florida Derby, he had a really good workout. I want to say on March 10th. And please double check me.
Let's see here. March 10th. Yeah, that was you have a 4-star workout on this horse. Yeah.
For 2.5 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
He didn't work for 3 weeks into the Florida Derby, or 2.5 weeks. He galloped. So
what does that mean?
Did he come out of that work bad? Did something happen in that work? Did he come out of that work with maybe a foot issue or something that they look at it? He did not have a work going into the Florida Derby.
No, and there's a gap here from March 10th to March 22nd. That is 12 days. So there's a bit of a gap there.
Right. Something happened. Something happened that basically didn't let this horse have a final work. Now, it's not about the work. It's the reason why. So when I see that, and Eric is absolutely correct. There's nothing wrong with what Eric said. But in this case, this horse didn't run for a reason. Something was bugging him. And you know what? It showed up. The lack of time between that and showed up into his race. Now, what happens if that was just a minor issue that they gotten over?
Well, first of all, Jose Ortiz is getting off the 1 horse and the 7 horse to ride this 5, and they did add blinkers to this horse. To me, they weren't happy with that. That's a desperation move.
Well, I mean, Orsino wears blinkers on a lot of horses. I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to look at this horse and say something happened after the March 10th work. And you know what? If you have Chris look up on that Saturday list. Oh no, that was an XPTV work. It was an XPTV work that was on March 10th, and that was a really good work. So I am thinking something happened, Scott. Something happened to that horse. He missed 12 days. He had a gallop. You know, I watched the gallop and I couldn't see anything wrong with it. But if they're galloping him on the day he's supposed to work, they're testing something. And my guess, he had a little bit of a foot bruise, or he grabbed himself.
Right.
Well, if that's true, you got to so Eric is going to be not right 99% of the time. But in this case, because of the situation here, you got to look at it on a different level.
Do us all a favor and explain what the horse grabbing himself means.
Meaning when they work, he's galloping out and he grabs the back of his fetlock joint. Horses' fetlock joints are really meaty in the back of the ankle. That goes right into the foot. So if you step on yourself, it's like you getting one of those bad blisters in the back of your leg. And we've all had those bad blisters that bleed, and that's painful, and it takes a while to heal.
Yeah. So you're saying that basically the back foot or the front foot basically steps on the back foot? Is that what you're saying?
It would be the front foot coming across like that, you know, and hitting themselves, you know, just like this, and hitting themselves, and all of a sudden you've got a cut, you've got blood, you got, you know, now you got to keep disinfecting it. You got to make sure it doesn't fester, it doesn't have any infection, because that in the foot area, you get infection there with the lack of a lot of circulation. It can develop to a major problem. So my guess is, now here's the other point of it too. He didn't work after the 10th because with the ESA rules, they need to go inject something, you know, a knee or a joint or a stifle or a Hines, you know, which is not necessarily thoroughly negative. I mean, I loved having my horses taken care of at hind end before you go on a race. Right. But now you can't work them, which this could be the actual scenario that after the 10th, they injected something, and now they can't work them for 2 weeks.
Right. Okay.
Because that's the rules with ESA.
All right. So I want to take us back to tomorrow's race, is race number 7. the FanDuel Limestone Stakes. It's $250,000 for these 3-year-olds. Okay, and there looks to be some decent horses. Here's an interesting one. Nice as Pie, who's our EquinEdge second pick. This horse has rattled off 4 straight wins. I think what my question is here is, here's a horse that looks in wonderful form for Danner, but it's going on turf for the first time. It certainly seems to have okay turf breeding, not bad. It's faced some nice horses. It's like, it's only had 5 races. Its first race didn't run very good on the dirt, and it's run good on the turf. How would you take the reason I asked, this horse is jumping on the turf, and there's some nice horses. You got this Pipsy horse here we were talking about for Walden, and whose workout just looked okay to me. But
what about Foxy Cleopatra?
Well, okay, and I was going to bring that horse up, and there's another one I wanted to talk about. But how do you judge a horse like this that it looks so good and now going on the turf for the first time? How should we approach the handicapping?
How sure are you that they're going to run that race on the grass?
How do we know that this horse will run this good on the grass?
Yeah.
We don't.
Exactly. She might have known of all the rain, and she's thinking, I'm going to run him on the dirt in a short field.
Okay. So
because remember, they got the Maker's Mark coming up after that. So they got to make a decision. Do we want to get a 5.5 turf 5.5 furlongs turf race that's going to chew up the course right before the Maker's Mark? My opinion is, when I'm going to handicap this, is I have a feeling this one's coming off.
You think this race will come off the turf?
I think this may come off the turf because 5.5 furlongs on the turf destroy the turf course.
Yeah, I hope they don't do that. Okay, but let's assume they don't.
You can't ruin it for the Maker's Mark.
No, that's true. That's true. I hope not. But okay, here's a horse this is an interesting horse here for George Weaver. He's got a couple of them in here, and I think this is a critical race within the sequence of a pick 5 as well. This horse happens to be a gold star for us, meaning it's the top pace, top win percentage, top EE morning line, and EE long shot, and it's 30% to win. It's coming back. It hasn't raced since the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint against 2-year-olds. Now it's facing 3-year-olds, and it's the fastest horse in the race. Velasquez comes back and runs on this horse. What was interesting is that this horse, that was a tough field, and this horse didn't run bad from the rail and was dueling the entire time and still only lost by 2.5 lengths. I want you to tell me that this horse is going to crush. Tell me how we should look at Crimson Advocate.
Because I'm going to use your own rule against you.
Okay.
The rule is a 2-year-old that was running early in the 2-year-old season, and now it's facing older horses.
Yeah.
I don't mean smart aleck about it.
No, I don't take it that way.
That is a prototypical horse that I basically would try to bet against. Also, and I can't wait for you to do this, what is George Weaver record at Keeneland and compared to New York?
I know. I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's something that I'm going to create right away.
Because you remember the meet that George Weaver had at Saratoga? And he had a huge meet. Comes over to run at Kentucky Downs 2 weeks later, and you can't find him with a searchlight.
Yeah.
So, when I play with those percentages all the time, and I'll say, okay, this guy's coming over, and I got one I want to talk about in a second.
Okay.
I got this guy coming over from New York. He was doing really good in New York. They don't do well here. So am I going to take this horse at face value? Or am I going to say, you know what, George, you're a good trainer. You've had a lot of success. Beat me if you can here. I'm not losing. And I want to mention something.
Okay.
Starting to see Linda Rice over at Keeneland.
Okay.
And Scott and I had this wonderful conversation the other day. And
I'm pretty sure you had the conversation. I listened.
Yeah, well, I don't talk very much, do I? Yeah, and the question was, how do you you need to look at where those people are stable. Now, Adam Rice is also at Keeneland. He's handling the barn probably for Linda. That they're related. Even Kevin Rice is there too. So the whole Rice family, pretty much, other than Linda, is at Keeneland. Well, the rules, she claimed a lot of horses out of Kentucky. So the rules, they made some changes in the rule that you have to run horses. I think, and maybe Justin or Chris can look up the rule on the condition book. What is the rule for claiming? I believe it is that you have to be stabled on the ground. You have to have a barn here. You have to run horses here, and you can claim. Okay? So what she does is she opens up a section of her stable here. She has horses that come in. She had one in today that was scratched, and now she can claim. So it's not the same situation as it is in New York. Her sole reason she wanted to be here is so she can claim horses and take them to New York. So a lot of the times, people pay no attention. They just see the trainer, they see the percentage, they don't even think about where is this guy stable. What are they doing?
Okay, but we're handicappers. Tell us why you're telling us this and how this affects us on our handicapping.
Because you can't look at you cannot look at Linda Rice the same way at Keeneland that you look at her in New York.
Oh, so you're saying Linda Rice, you shouldn't really take her as seriously. She's here to claim horses and take them back to New York.
That's that is my take. Yeah.
I got you. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, I need to change gears real quickly here. Okay, we looked at this horse, Pipsy. We saw this workout, and we absolutely loved Olivia Meralda, right? So, but what are we thinking of? How do we know the class level of this horse, and if this horse fits against a really tough group of horses in here?
Is this her first start in the country?
This is her first start in the country. Yes, she's on the outside.
Bear with me here, just a second.
Okay, I know you got to get your bearings here on this.
No, I need to move over to my Safari. I'm
just trying to figure out the class level. Yeah,
I was going to tell you. I'm going to look her up on Racing Post. Everybody out there, go to racingpost.com. Racingpost.com. Now go in. Please tell me her name. It's Pipsy, right?
Pipsy. Tell us about Pipsy. Like, how do we know if she can fit in this FanDuel Limestone Stakes?
So Pipsy, I look at in Racing Sports, in Racing Post.
Okay.
She has run.
She's run 3 times.
Okay. The last time out, she was at Doncaster.
Yep.
She ran in a listed stake and won by a length of length over Alabama.
Okay.
So now I want to find out who the heck is Alabama she beat.
Right.
So I'm looking up Alabama. Alabama is basically the only race she's won was on an all-weather track.
Correct.
It was 0 for 7.
Here. The last race was she's won 2 races. She broke her maiden on the turf, and then her last race she won immediately against an allowance folk of horses, but she did beat 9 horses, and those of course were 2-year-olds going 5 furlongs in the synthetic. She's back on the turf where her GSR is a little bit bigger. But I'm having a hard time, and I think all of us are having a hard time understanding and knowing her class level, because this is a non-graded stakes race for $250,000, and there's some very nice horses in here. How are we supposed to judge her against this North American group?
Well, I'm going back to try to find. Let me see the flat turfs. See that for some reason they don't even. Oh, I need to accept all. Okay, so on the September 23rd at the Curra, she beat a horse named El Pellegrino. So now I want to know who this El Pellegrino is. The turf was yielding to soft. Yep. I want to see the competition here. El Pellegrino is still a maiden. She ran 3rd next time out to a horse named goal exceeds. Let's see who else was in that field. About Emperor of Rome. Emperor of Rome ran third that day. Emperor of Rome is also a maiden still. So the second and third place finishers are maidens. Battle Fleet. Here's another horse that's 0 for 2. Never hit the board. So when I look at this horse and I look at the racingpost.com, and by the way, it's free. You can tell who that horse was. The last win in October was on all weather against Alabama, and Alyssa Stakes on all weather. So the 2 turf races was beating up on maidens. To me, this horse is maybe a cut below, and I need to see a race from her.
Okay, one more question on this horse. So in the last couple of workouts, Pipsy has worked out against a horse named Olivia Moralda.
Where was she bred?
I don't know. It doesn't say. That's on your workouts. So
yeah. Let me pull that up.
Okay, yeah. We'd love to know how good Olivia Moralda is.
So I do a lot of this because I want to get an handle on who they are. If I don't have a handle on who they are, all right. Olivia Moralda is an Irish bred that's run 11 times with 2 wins and a 2/3. So here's what we're going to see. Results. It's been running in Ireland. Let's go back over to Racing Post. Let's go at Olivia Moralda. Okay, she's an older horse. She's 4. And let's see. She's got 2 wins and 3 seconds on the flat turf. Last time out, she ran in a grade 1 against Tahira. You remember Tahira, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me see here if this is the same Tahira. In September 2023, she got beat by Tahira. And Tahira is 5 winner out of 7 over $1 million. Let me see here. She won, let's see, grade 1. She won at the Curragh. She won a grade 1 at the Curragh. She won at Ascot. She won at Leopardstown and then ran third at Ascot last time out, the Big Rock. Before, Olivia Moralda ran against some really good horses in the last race. Rogue Millennium was second that day, and Rogue Millennium is a Group 1 place to Tahira, and actually was a grade 2 winner at Ascot, beating Random Harvest. So there's grade 1 and grade 2 horses, and Olivia Moralda was down. You know who was 4th in that race, Scott?
Who?
Meditate.
Meditate was?
Breeders' Cup.
Oh, okay. So maybe so what we're saying is maybe Pipsy has a better look.
No. Olivia Moralda is a better horse.
But I don't know that you saw that in the workout. They looked pretty equal. Let's take a look at that again.
I thought Olivia Moralda went okay.
Let's see. Let's
Again, Scott, you're taking into consideration 2 horses that are going all the way wide around the turn. They're going a half a mile.
Right.
Olivia Moralda is closest to the outside rail. She's the closest to you. Closest
to the rail.
Right.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, Olivia Moralda's on the outside then.
Well, she's here. She's the one right here.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay. This is Pipsy.
Which one's Pipsy? On the inside, correct?
Yeah, right here. Right here in the black. Well, they both got black up. But this horse right here,
that's this horse?
I love
horse? Going. Is Pipsy on the inside or the outside?
Okay. Olivia Moralda is closest to the stand.
Closest to the stand, so on the outside. Gotcha.
Right. That's so tough to call that. But, you know, they're going too slow and they're doing it too easy to be able to separate them. All I can say, my feeling is that I think, looking at the past performances, Olivia Moralda is a better horse.
Okay, so we're watching this a little bit closely right now. And
also, did you notice Pipsy's got blinkers on?
I didn't see that. It's hard to. Oh yeah, there are those like cups. They don't look like big blinkers, that's for sure.
But to me, that tells me they're trying to get her into the race.
Okay.
But Olivia Moralda is the better horse of the 2.
Okay. We're going to take your word for that. So, okay, so we might want to pass on that horse. Okay, Nathan has a question for you. Does Payson Park tend to play is it a fast track, meaning the workouts are faster? Seems like horses that work out there have quicker times.
Nathan, thanks for the question. I think that's a really intelligent one because a lot of players don't understand that Payson is a private facility. There's no clockers, and trainers get to hand in their times. So all I can say is one time at Saratoga, I had a Belmont team go 47-2. And Bill would always go by me with his pony. And I remember I looked at him and I said, 47-2, Bill. And he looked at me and he goes, your stopwatch is much faster than mine. Meaning that he has a tendency to want to slow down the times.
Right.
They all do. All these trainers are just obsessed with slowing the times down. So, so it's in Payson Park, I pay no attention to the times. I'll look at the gateworks and try to get an idea of how they're working. And
hold on, you got to be more specific than that. You're not looking at times, but you're looking at gateworks.
See how they fit.
What specifically are you looking at in the gateworks?
I'm looking at to see if there was some of those horses were working in the top 10% for that distance.
Okay. It's funny you say that. That's what I look for as well. I'm looking for horses that are finishing in the top 10%, especially in gate drills. Do fast gate drills necessarily indicate a horse that has speed?
Young horses don't know. They just run to their ability.
Right.
And yeah, absolutely. And by the way, gateworks show up on the tote board. Clockers love to tout horses off the gateworks. So you see a horse that has got a 102, a 102, and a 103 out of the gate, and it opens up at 8-5. I bet you those weren't 102s and 103s.
Right.
But because clockers there and trainers turning the times in, it really turns into a guessing game.
You know what I've seen too, Bruno? It seems like the more bullet works there are for a horse, the less I like the horse. What's up with bullet works?
Bullet works are foobar. They're bullshit.
Right?
Because let me tell you, let me give you examples. These clockers know that you guys out there are going to look at bullet works to make your bet. So what do? They'll really, the bullet work, he's going to get the gallop out time. And I can actually put in a context, as I've seen this hundreds of times. Two horses work. One is a pretty good horse, let's say by Curlin, and the other one's a maiden claimer. The Curlin horse goes 47-2, beats the other horse by 5. Gallops out in 1:03. Clockers give the Curlin colt 1:03 because he's going to be 5th out of 37.
Right.
The horse that ran second and got drubbed with a 48, he's actually the bullet work of the day.
Right.
You get a slug who two works later tripped over his own feet and fell down.
But you know what? You tell that in your workout reports, don't you? Like you let people know. Look, they had a 4 furlong workout for this horse, but we actually had this horse 5 furlongs or 6 furlongs.
That's all in my workout report, And here, I'll give you a great example. This is my favorite example to give, and I feel bad because the horse ended up getting hurt. But it was a horse for Todd Pletcher. It was 2016. I want to say 2015 or 2016 at Saratoga. And was working in company with another Pletcher unraced horses. And I remember they went from the gate. They went 23, 34, 4. They got to about close to the half, and the chestnut breaks down. The horse on the outside goes on, works 45-4, and out in 59-1. Here comes the tab. The chestnut horse that went down and the rider ended up breaking his back, he ended up being okay, was actually listed going faster than the horse that won the drill and was still upright. And the horse that was still upright was One Liner, who ended up winning the Southwest Stakes the next year. Oh, wow. But he went off at 7-2 because he was down the list on the workout rankings because they put the dead horse in front of him.
Yeah.
And they weren't separated. That was the insane thing. They were head and head. They weren't separated. And yet they gave the other horse a better time. That's why the 100s in New York are nothing but for the clockers to be able to manually manipulate the workout rankings.
So how should we look at workouts if we don't, if let's just say we're looking at a horse and we're looking at the workouts and we don't have your report? How are we supposed to look at those horses?
Work in New York, I do one of these. I scratch it out.
So you're not even, you don't even care about the workouts.
Let me tell you something. I called them out on a daily basis a couple of summers. Called them out. They had no shame whatsoever. And they were being protected. Shocker, right?
Yeah.
Shocker.
Yeah.
To the point that I said, you know what? Here's my middle finger. I'm going to write down what I want. If you don't like it, I'll see you in the parking lot. Because all they did was lie on those workouts. I had a horse one time that got pulled up. They gave it a minute too, got pulled up and banned off, and it got bullet work.
Yeah. Hey, Bruno, I want to give a plug out to the boys, Chris and Oldie and Justin. They have the Stretch Run show. And in this show, last Saturday alone, had 1,500 concurrent people on between Twitter and YouTube watching that show. These boys are destroying it right now. They are so on fire on everything they're doing. Everything they're touching is gold. So you want to tune in. You can go to you can go to YouTube, click on the bell, and you'll get notifications of all the shows. So we've got our show here tomorrow, the Road to the NHC. I've got with 2022 NHC champ David Harrison. We've got that as well, and so you don't want to miss some of the shows. We're adding more and more and more. We could really use the support, so don't forget to like the show as well because it really helps our channel. If you want to see more content like this, we need some help and some love from you guys, but we really appreciate it. 15,000 views on that show just on YouTube alone, and just insane. Amazing stuff right now that's going on, and the guys are doing a great job. Love the team we're building. Right, Bruno? Like, it's incredible what's going on, and it's really important, you guys. We're trying to build horse racing. We're trying to be the leader in technology for the handicapper. We're all about you guys and want to support you. And we've got Bruno now. We've got Bruno's workouts and stuff. We've got more coming. We've got the new shows that we're bringing. So it seems like you guys are really liking that stuff, and we need your support. Don't forget to like the show and tell your friends. And we really appreciate you guys too. So we're trying to add more content.
You and I had before we ever started on this venture, you and I had a conversation, and my first words to you was, I love your energy for the game. I met you a long time. Molly Jo Rosen and I had lunch with you one time somewhere. I don't remember where, but we were young and we were full of passion for the game. And it's great to see that we've gotten older, but we still have it. I don't do a whole lot of this with a lot of people. And the reason being is that a lot of people just use the information for themselves, and they don't do much for the fans. I appreciate for what you do, and that's why I'm here, because I appreciate you, Scott.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah, I even when I was doing TVG for 4 years, it was such a blessing. They gave me an opportunity. I wasn't your typical broadcaster. I was just a handicapper that loved horse racing and handicapping. Like, genuinely, I love the smell of horses. Like, I genuinely do. And I think when you have that passion, and there's a lot of areas in horse racing that need to be improved, but we have an amazing, I dare you to find a better community than we have at EquinEdge. And it's just growing. We had some amazing releases, yours being the top, adding Bruno's workout reports, adding the horses to watch, adding the new Scotty Picks algorithms. Go look at the last 3 days of the new Scotty Picks algorithms and go tell me they aren't amazing. 40% win on the top Scotty Pick. And I think it was, I want to say 12% on the long shot play and 34% in the money. Like, amazing algorithms we're building. We've got more stuff coming, and the simulator race is coming soon too. So we're working hard for you guys, and we're trying to build this stuff. So we appreciate all the support, and you guys are showing that too. The growth of EquinEdge has just been, we don't even do any marketing. I mean, we're on Twitter, and the growth has just been tremendous. So hopefully we can be a small part of changing the game. I want to cover one more horse before we wrap up this show. Okay.
Can I throw in a suggestion for next week?
Please.
We're going to have some fun next week if you want to have another show.
Okay, of course we're doing another show.
We're going to go and take a look at babies and horses walking and be able to tell people a little bit of what to look for when you're looking at body language.
Yeah, I agree.
You want to do that?
Yeah, 100%. We're gonna do that. I am all about that. I think the more information, the more people can learn about horses' body languages, just like people's body language. There are some serious tells, and there's nobody better than you to be able to explain that. Okay, I need you to help me out with this 12 horse. It's the EquinEdge top pick. This horse looks seriously good to me. But my question is, it is drawing that 12 hole. It's kind of the mid pack of the speed. It's got serious class. It had a rough trip in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Sprint.
Is this a 5.5 on the turf?
This is the 5.5 on the turf. This is George Weaver's other horse. He's got Crimson Advocate as well. I'm not sure which one he likes more, but Irad's aboard the 12 horse.
Foxy Cleopatra.
What's that?
I'll take Foxy Cleopatra over both of them.
Really? Tell me, you talk about a trainer for a course. What's Ravelli? Hold on. What's Ravelli ever done over at Keeneland?
Well, can we pop in? Can
Chris?
Let's pop in a replay of Foxy Cleopatra's win at Fairgrounds.
Let's see here. No, I don't think we have a way of doing that. Chris, do we have a way of doing that? I don't think we do. That we don't have the unfortunately we don't have the approval for that.
The Philly train over there, and there was a couple of works. Now, one thing about Ravelli, he will put blinkers on almost everything in the morning where you can't tell marks, and he's got a lot of horses that all look alike. And that filly ran lights out. How does she fit in there?
Well, okay, from a class perspective, not at all, but she did beat 10 horses fairly easily. She got the lead, and she was losing ground, but she handled the very few horses can break their maidens, then switch surfaces, and then go beat winners like she did. But she's bred for turf all along, and you can see that by her GSR. If you look at her GSR, it was a 57 on the synthetic, and then it goes to a 71 off of a layoff. So you don't know what her upside is. I guess that's the question that I would have for you.
If they move it to the dirt, she's gone.
She's not even the fastest horse in the race.
She's gone. I'm telling you right now. I could be dead wrong, but if they move it and there's a short field, that filly will drill them.
Wow. Okay.
It's going to be a short field. A lot of horses are turf horses. You got Nicest Pie that I don't think, and I've seen Nicest Pie early in her career, and I liked her. But I just telling you, Foxy Cleopatra, you got to look at her on tomorrow in the 7th. She'll be my top pick. That says I'm looking for dirt.
Bruno calls his shot right here on Foxy Cleopatra. I'm going to call it right now. No chance. No chance.
You just put me in the winner's circle.
Probably.
I need to get to another winner's circle.
Probably. Okay. You still haven't answered my question about this 12 horse for George Weaver.
I can't because I do not know whether this race is on the turf or the dirt. I am, that 12 hole is the kiss of death.
That's what I was hoping, or not hoping, but that's what I thought you would say.
Outside the fence, right? So if you're a speed, he's going to have to take back. If he's not a speed horse, he's going to have to take back and go all the way back and then make a big run. If that turf is really soft and they're on the turf, that it's going to be very hard to do. So what does he need to do? He needs to break 5 in front and be able to clear over. That's not conceivable either with Foxy Cleopatra and a number of other speeds in there. So I'll take Foxy Cleopatra.
Okay. Crimson Advocate.
Line in the sand right here, right in front of you, Scott. Right there.
Okay. There's no way you can't like Crimson Advocate. This horse is the fastest horse in the race.
Not on the dirt.
Huh?
I don't know.
Why do you keep talking about the dirt? It's a turf race.
Because it's most likely going to come off. There's so much rain here. They're building the ark next door. Okay? And you know what? I shouldn't be making biblical comments. Last time I did that was at Saratoga on July 25th, 2014. Abraham won the race, and I made a biblical comment about him not going to be out of the pick 4. Guess what happened? 30 minutes later, lightning struck 50 feet from me and hit a tree, and split it in half at Saratoga. So, you know what? Shouldn't make biblical comments, but they are building some kind of boat that fits a lot of animals a little further away.
All right. On that note, we're going to wrap it up. Bruno De Julio, my partner on Beat the Clock. And thank you all very much for joining us. Wish you all the blessings for this weekend. Hope you guys kill it and make a lot of money and have a wonderful time as well. Stay safe out there. Bruno, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Looking forward to seeing you next week. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you, Dave.
Big shout out to Chris as well. And don't forget to watch tomorrow, because David Harrison and I are going to take you through the road to the NHC. You're not going to want to miss that. And
Foxy Cleopatra.
Yeah, Crimson Advocate. All right, you guys.
Foxy Cleopatra.
Okay. All right, you guys. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much.